Shadowboxing. It's an exercise and a training routine in which a boxer essentially punches the air to prepare their muscles, practice form, and to maintain a fighter's rhythm. It's much harder than it looks, it takes a lot of physical energy, and sometimes you could argue it's harder than boxing itself. Hear me out. Let me phrase the premise like this. Jake Paul is the greatest shadowboxer of all time. Not in a sense that no one can train better with this technique than he can, but in the sense that while in the ring, his opponents might as well been the air. Jake Paul's choice of opponents have been a significant factor in the widespread criticism he faces within the boxing community. His opponents, for the most part, have been handpicked not for their powers in the ring or their ability to box, but for their ability to generate buzz and spectacle, which has been good for clicks, but not for hits. Hits in the ring, that is. Firstly, let's consider his fight against Nate Robinson. Robinson is a former NBA player with no professional boxing experience, at least before the fight. While the fight garnered immense attention, it was a far cry from a legitimate boxing match, more akin to a novelty act, reducing the sport to a sideshow attraction. This fight epitomized the problem with Jake Paul's boxing career. It's built on exploiting famous names rather than engaging in meaningful competition. Then there's Ben Askren, a former MMA fighter known for his wrestling rather than his striking ability. Askren's boxing skills were rudimentary at best, and he was far from a credible opponent as for someone claiming to be a serious boxer. The fight ended quickly with Paul's victory, but it did little to improve his skills as a legitimate boxer. Instead, it highlighted his tendency to cherry-pick opponents who pose minimal risk. The bout with Tyron Woodley followed a similar pattern. Woodley, a seasoned boxer, while Woodley provided more of a challenge, the fight again was criticized for its lack of competitiveness, and the spectacle surrounding it was interesting. There was a lot of memes to build up the fight, but the fight itself was like anything but a fight. Jake Paul's decision to fight Woodley twice only reinforced the notion that he was more interested in easy wins and rematches that generate hype rather than pushing himself against true boxers. And I know what you're thinking, we'll talk about Tommy Fury in a second. For now, let's focus on the fight against Anderson Silva, a legendary MMA fighter, indeed more of a credible opponent than Paul's previous choices. However, Silva was way past his prime, and this time that's not an exaggeration, and yes, he was transitioning into boxing late in his career. While the fight was entertaining, it still did not showcase Paul taking on a prime professional boxer, further fueling the argument that he is more interested in the spectacle than actually providing metal against top-tier boxing talent. When the highly anticipated fight between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury, he still exposed Paul's weakness and showcased what it means to be a pro boxer. Paul's loss to Fury exposed the limitations of his training and prep, despite having access to the top trainers, facilities, and money. Paul's lack of experience against true boxers was evident. True boxers like, say, one of the greatest ever, Mike Tyson, who Paul is expected to fight. Or at least that was the plan as of this recording. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson will not face off on the preset date of July 20th, which was the original plan. This is due to Tyson's recent ulcer flare-up, which has limited his ability to train for the next few weeks. Wink wink nudge nudge has nothing to do with the fact that the dude is pushing 60 years old, but still, the fight will be rescheduled for a date later this year if Mike Tyson is resumed to training with no limitations physically stopping him. Both fighters can have equal time to prepare, but who knows if this will follow through. Again, Mike Tyson is 57 years old. Win, lose, or draw, this fight will come with a heavy asterisk. If Jake Paul wins, people will say he just beat up an old man. If he loses, people will say he just lost to an old man. And if it's a draw, people will say that Jake Paul couldn't win against an old man. And maybe it's disrespectful to just call Mike Tyson an old man. Sure, he's still Iron Mike. He still has the IQ, the brain power to fight like he did in the 90s. But physically, let's be honest here, he's not 90s Mike physically. Just look at his match against Roy Jones Jr. back in 2020, which was 4 years ago. Man, does time fly. We can only expect something like that, which is still, heck, that's Mike Tyson. No disrespect to him. Iron Mike, one of the most fearsome and accomplished heavyweight champions in history. But is this 90s Iron Mike? Look at the footage for yourself. If Jake Paul were to fight 90s Mike, it would be pitting a seasoned war general against a toy soldier. It's absurd, disrespectful, and downright dangerous. Mike Tyson has earned his place in boxing history through blood, sweat, and countless hours in the gym. Jake Paul, on the other hand, is attempting to buy his way into the sport's upper echelons through sheer audacity and financial clout. The proposed fight is an affront to every boxer who paid their dues, climbed their ranks, and fought their way to the top with integrity and hard work. Consider the message this sends to fans and aspiring boxers. It suggests that fame and fortune can be substitute for skill and dedication, that you can leapfrog the hard work by leveraging your celebrity status. This is not a lesson in boxing or any sport for that matter. It's simply shadowboxing. Jake Paul is the greatest shadowboxer of all time. So let me know what you think of Jake Paul's boxing career so far, and what do you think this Mike Tyson fight would end up looking like if it does happen? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to knock out that like button and subscribe with notifications turned on. I'm Ringside Rewind, and I'll fast forward to you later.